layered with beautiful and immaculate homes filled with picture-perfect families, right? Well, my first guests live in this beautiful community and fit the image and facade that comes with living there. But their life is far from perfect.
If you were to see the way we live, you would think that our lives were pretty much perfect. From the outside, we look pretty much like the perfect family.
Tiffany's had a drug problem with Oxycontin for about 4.5 years. I honestly thought she had beaten the Oxycontin addiction.
Being a police officer and knowing that my daughter engages in illegal activities such as using illegal drugs is very embarrassing. Tiffany's been to rehab numerous times, and unfortunately each time she's failed. No parent likes to admit the fact that they may have a child that's addicted to drugs.
Tiffany has a problem when she's using the drug that she turns into two different people. She's like Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde. She'll be talking to you fine, and then she'll turn around to somebody else and pretty much just rip their head off. I'm fed up with Tiffany. We've tried everything we can to give her what we can afford to give her. One of my worst fears is coming in and finding Tiffany dead.
Look, there comes a point, Ken, Susie, you guys love this girl, right? I mean, this is your daughter, and you love her, and she has had a rough go. She's made some bad choices, and she has to own all of those choices. But I want to be very real about what happens when we're dealing with somebody with a drug history. It doesn't happen in isolation. You are not responsible for her doing drugs. You're not responsible for her doing drugs. That's not what I'm saying at all. But when you have a young person with this kind of history, they don't do it in a vacuum. They do it with their family around them. And your reactions have contributed to it, either positively or negatively. And I want you, before we even talk to her, I want you to grade your own papers. If you had this to do over again, Ken, what would you do differently?
I think if I had to do it all over again, I'd probably put more of an emphasis or focus in keeping my first marriage, obviously, together. Or staying married to Susie back years ago when I made the choice to leave. Today, I think over the course of the last 4 or 5 years, I've made choices in terms of probably enabling her to do things that she shouldn't be doing, and that's by financially supporting her in ways that I probably shouldn't, giving her money, buying her car, and just a host of other things like that, I suppose.
When you say that you have enabled her, that's kind of a buzzword everybody uses, but you get what that means is by you financially giving her money, particularly on the heels of her crashing in an effort to get her back up, right, that you are empowering her to self-destruct. Do you get that?
Yes.
Because you say, well, but I mean, she's in the ditch here. I got to get her out of the ditch. No, it's in that ditch that she may face the fact that she has to make different choices. But if you come along and she totals a car, for example, and you buy her a new one, then listen, kids learn what they live. That's a bad fact, right? And you thought she was completely clean until we called you and said she had written us and said that she wasn't actually clean.
Right.
So how did you miss this? Has she been out of your orbit? Has she been away from you?
Actually, she had just been in a rehab center, and she checked herself out. She wanted to come home because she was hurting so bad with a migraine headache, and the facility wouldn't give her aspirin. She wanted just a Tylenol or something for the headache, and they would not give her the aspirin.
So that's the story she told us.
That's what I think. I don't know any different than that, but that's what I thought.
Well, let's assume that's true, and I think that's complete crap. But
okay. So
I mean, let's assume for argument's sake it's true. Mm-hmm. So she checks herself out, AMA. Mm-hmm. So these professionals, you know, doctors, nurses, psychologists, psychiatrists, addiction specialists, all, they don't know anything. She knows she needs an aspirin.
Right.
So she's leaving. Mm-hmm. And she comes where?
She calls me to come pick her up.
And you?
And I picked her up.
And take her?
Back to her boyfriend's house.
Okay, so you're her taxi cab.
Well, she basically told me if I didn't come, he would come when he got off work. That was just the point.
Did you think about calling him and saying, hey, we don't need to be doing this. She needs to stay right where she is and not having a ride. This crisis may pass.
No, I'm sorry. I didn't think about
that.
Okay,
and listen, I get it. I'm a parent and now a grandparent, and I get how hard it is, which is why I'm talking to you first. Ken,
Sure.
you say you've gone into $40,000 debt for things, knowing that she was an addict. $15,000 on dental school after she left rehab the first time, right? She's never completed a rehab, right? She's left early. Okay, car accident. You suspected drug use, and I think that would be a pretty good guess. And she totaled the car?
Yes, sir.
So there's a good chance she was driving under the influence.
Yes.
Fortunately, she didn't kill herself or anybody else,
Yes.
but she totaled the car,
Yes.
and so you just bought her a new one.
Yes.
You know, when you hear it like that, it sounds, when you put it in, you connect the dots.
Even with the headache thing, you know what? I
Yeah.
never doubted her for a second. I didn't.
Yeah, that's why we're talking. Yeah, because I can tell you when she's lying, it's when her lips are
I
moving.
know that.
Okay,
I know.
now, she was going to be prosecuted for writing bad checks, so you bailed her out, right?
Yes.
And what do you suppose she was doing that money she's writing bad checks for? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. You still financially support a car insurance, cell phone, health insurance. I mean, all of these things. And then she comes and says, you know, I need money for hair and nails and that sort of thing, and you give it to her. That's what I mean. Enabling's kind of a, you know, it doesn't sound real bad. You say it real fast. But what it actually amounts to is you've got somebody out here that is on self-destruct.
Right.
And in order to continue that self-destruction, she needs funding. And so y'all make sure she has it. And I have to tell you, that is no different than if you went and bought it for her and gave it to her. Because that's what you're doing. You're just not doing the pickup, but you're doing the financing. And she calls you out of rehab and says, come get me. Mom, come on. Why do you suppose she called you?
Because she knew I'd come and get her.
You reckon that she's learned that she's got you under control. You will do what she wants you to do.
Absolutely.
So that has to change. There's nothing that I can do to help your daughter, who we're going to meet here in a minute. There's nothing I can do to help her if you guys continue to do what you're doing. If you do what you're doing, I might as well thank you for coming, wish you the best, refer you to a good funeral home, and send you on your way, because she will die and you will be guilty in your own minds and hearts for the rest of your life, simply because we've had this one conversation. You didn't choose the drugs, but you're either going to be part of the problem or part of the solution. I want you to be part of the solution. We'll meet Tiffany after the break. Well, I'm here with Ken and Susie. They are divorced now, but they are the biological parents of a beautiful daughter, Tiffany. She has a history of drugs. Now, they believe that she has been okay and off of drugs until she contacted us. She wrote into us and said, look, I'm living a lie here, and I need help coming clean, confessing where I am, talking about what the truth is. So let's bring Tiffany out so you can meet her and add her to this conversation. Tiffany, Dr. Phill, how are you? Have a seat right here. You wrote me a letter. Why now? Why me?
Because I watch your show like every day. And I've seen you help other families, and I didn't really know what else to do.
So you know I take this very seriously. Well, Tiffany said that she's been lying to her parents for the past year. She says that she is ashamed of where she is and what she's doing. Let's take a look.
My parents have no idea that I'm using heroin. I'm really scared to tell them. I switched from Oxycontin to heroin. My body is sick without heroin. I've been to rehab 3 times. All 3 times I didn't finish the program. Right now I'm spending up to $100 a day on heroin. All my money goes to drugs. I would be borrowing money or getting money from my boyfriend saying I need gas. I pay no bills. My boyfriend pays for our housing and my dad paid for my car and my cell phone. Using drugs has made me become a liar. In order to get money from my mom, I'll say I need gas or money to eat. I've stolen money from my dad. I've stolen 20 bucks here, 20 bucks there. I feel like I live a completely double life. In the morning, I drive all the way to the methadone clinic to get the methadone, and then I drive to get heroin, and then I try to make it to work by 9:30, but I have to get that just to get through my day. I am gonna drive real quick right now to go meet so I can pick up some heroin. On my lunch break, I go out to my car to use heroin. I don't even eat lunch on my break. I feel guilty, and I feel like I'm wasting my life. I feel like I'm not ever gonna accomplish anything. I'm so scared, and I never thought my life would end up this way. I don't want to do this anymore. It's always like this, running around and back and forth. I have to go get something just to make it, you know, through the day.
So, Dad, share what's in your heart.
I'm sorry. Really? I can't even talk.
It's all right. Just talk through the tears. It's all right.
Heroin? Oh, man. I don't know what to say. Honey, that just, you have no idea as your dad what that makes me feel, or how much hurt that just caused. You know, and some of the things that you just said regarding your stealing and doing what you're doing on your lunches. Just living a lie like that.
But half the time in the morning when I go, I just do it to feel normal. Like, it's not fun anymore. It's not. Like, people think like, oh, doing drugs, fun, friends, partying. It's not. It's my survival. It's to function. It's to feel normal, to go be able to take a shower and to go to work and make it through the day without being really sick.
See, and I don't understand, Dr. Phill, where she's coming with feeling normal and stuff. When you get sick, when you've done the detox a couple times, that's what you're talking about?
Yeah.
But yeah, you've failed rehab twice because you've chosen to take yourself out of rehab? Really?
I didn't give enough time for, it takes, like doctors have told me that it takes like up to a month to feel normal, for your body to feel normal again. And I gave in because I just wanted to feel normal.
What do you want to say?
I'm in shock. I didn't know that she was still doing this. I thought she was fine.
I mean, she got a job working at another dentist office not too long ago.
Right when she got out of the rehab facility,
Yeah.
she went right away and got a job so she would pacify us, make us think that things were okay.
She hasn't come around my home because of a relationship or lack of with her stepmother. And that's
I was
why
told I was not welcome in your home.
you're not when you're under the
Okay.
influence or using
No, but
drugs.
you guys thought I was clean, and I was told I was not welcome in your home. And you did not know that I was using.
Well, I knew the other day after you.
The
did
other
your-
day,
yeah.
no, I was told I was not welcome in your home when you guys thought that I was clean.
No, but when you came to the home and you were told you weren't welcomed, it was because how you acted at the house and
I'm not talking about on Sunday.
Okay, I'm talking back when you disrespected Christy by yelling at her in our home and
It
acting the
wasn't
way
just
you did.
me.
Regardless, that's what you can't
Okay.
come into our home and talk to Christy like that and expect that you're going to have open arms when you come through the door.
This is the problem. They think that we have family issues because of the drugs, just because of the drugs.
We do.
No.
That's a cop-out, Tiffany.
No.
Yes, because when you're not under the influence and you're a pretty young girl that's sober, we never have issues or problems. Other than I know you're gonna resort back and you're gonna say it's because
We've always had issues with my stepmother before drugs. Are you kidding me right now?
Are you kidding me when you said that you haven't had a relationship with Christy before?
On
When she's
and
helped
off,
you
on and
detox?
off.
Yeah, it's on when you want it
On
to be
and
on, and
off,
it's off when
but
you're having issues.
That's not true.
It
I'll
is
tell you
true.
what, we're going to take a super quick break here, and we're going to add this stepmother, Christy, and we're going to talk this out and figure out whether there's a plan we can move forward here when we come back.
I definitely think my stepmom uses my drug use to keep me out of the family.
Grow up, Tiffany. If you're not going to care for yourself, then no one's going to care for you.
I feel like my dad chooses my stepmom and my half-brother over me all the time because he got remarried, and even before I was on drugs, they never would call me.
Unfortunately, because of the drugs, we don't have a relationship like we should have.
I lived with my dad for a little while. He basically just said, you know, the only way you can live here is if you're clean. He would drug test me, so he knew, and he kicked me out.
Tiffany's addiction has had a major impact on my relationship with my current wife.
It says on this page that I'm supposed to, at this age, give her a car and pay her cell phone and pay her insurance and make sure she has money in her pocket all the time.
My dad tells me all the time, oh, you need to be stronger, and what you're doing is stupid, and you're just weak-minded.
I love Tiffany like no tomorrow, but I don't want her in my home unless she's clean and sober. She needs to be locked down. She needs to be taken away from her friends and deal with her issues.
Well, Tiffany's stepmother, Christy, says she does not want Tiffany in her family's life and says, and I quote, "It's a sigh of relief knowing Tiffany is not walking through my door to visit." Take a look.
Me and my stepmom do not get along at all. I feel like my dad has changed so much. My stepmom has changed him. It makes me hate her. My dad has helped me a lot financially, but if I go to his work to have lunch with him, he won't tell her. Like, it'll be a secret from her because she'll get mad or get jealous.
I feel that Ken favors Tiffany over myself, and it's hurtful. When it comes to Tiffany, Ken will put everything on hold for her.
I definitely think my stepmom uses my drug use to keep me out of the family.
Grow up, Tiffany. If you're not going to care for yourself, then no one's going to care for you. I believe in tough love, and she doesn't like that at all. I think Tiffany has been at the point where she will pretty much do anything that she needs to do to get her drug.
Yeah, hate's a big word. You just said, I hate my stepmother. Do you hate Christy?
No, I don't hate her.
And why did you say that?
Because I'm hurt. I feel like I don't have a dad anymore because of her.
Christy, what do you think about the relationship you have with Tiffany? Is it strained?
Yes.
You're happier when she's not there because of what she brings, what
Yes.
she introduces, and what is that?
This is the thing.
Hey, let me ask Christy, what does she bring into your home that makes you glad when she's not there?
Just Ken and I will argue and fight, negative. It's just not a happy, for the most part, it has not been a happy situation when she's around.
Do you resent your father because he divorced your mother and left you?
He traded one family in for another. Even before my drugs. She has said, I am jealous of you and your father's relationship because me and my dad weren't close growing up. This was when I was like 14. No drugs. Okay. So we were close, like I was the only girl. We're gonna have a different relationship than him and my brothers. It's different, you know? And she's always said that she's jealous of that. If I go have lunch with him, he can't tell her. One time, I was getting my nails done and he was with me and he got a pedicure and he couldn't tell her. Why is that?
It's not that
because,
I can't.
No,
it's not that I
she'll
can't
fight
tell
with
her.
You can, but it'll spark a fight. And you avoid the fight
because she brings up valid concerns or issues about you when we're together. My giving you money. Did you give her money? And you're right. I have sometimes not been honest with my wife Christy because of our relationship. And I again apologize. She knows. I've given things to you that I really shouldn't do. Both your mom and Christy have said, why? Why are you doing these things for her?
That she can be like, oh, I believe in tough love, like.
Obviously, like, she's been right though.
Okay.
I mean,
but it's like, I feel like I have a mom, I have a dad. Like, I don't need another tough person on my case every day. Like.
Well,
you can be my stepmom, and she's like, I want to be your friend.
The problem is we haven't been as tough as Christy.
No, but I'm not gonna. With our relationship, how it is, like, I didn't grow up with a stepmom, like, knowing, like, oh, my second mom. Like, it wasn't like that. She came into my life, and I was like, oh, say hi to your new mom. Like, my dad told me, I'll never get remarried. I'll make sure that you guys, like, say it's okay and like her and approve. And you went and got engaged and didn't tell us, okay? I remember, we're engaged, coming home. Okay, she got pregnant. The way I found out, I'm sleeping and my dad comes and wakes me up, and this is when I was like 12, 13, 14, I don't know. Hey, by the way, her family's coming over today, so just a heads up, she's pregnant. Like, are you kidding me?
I honestly don't remember that.
You don't remember anything, though. I do, and it hurts. You don't remember nothing.
Is that your theory of why you've chosen to medicate yourself?
No, I don't blame that on anybody.
What do you blame it on? Because that's what we're talking about here. The fact is you are a heroin addict, and you did heroin today, correct?
This morning.
You've done heroin this morning before you came here. I'll be right back. The fact is you are a heroin addict, and you did heroin today, correct?
This morning.
You've done heroin this morning before you came here. Okay, so this has got a grip on you. If you don't do it again soon, you'll start to react, correct? If you don't have a fix before the end of the day, you're going to start.
I'll be sick.
You're going to start getting the flu. You're going to start getting real sick. That's the point that we're at, guys. And you say, I thought she was fine. I don't know if you thought she was fine or you just desperately wanted her to be fine. But she's not fine. And there's a lot of family that goes into this. Do you support her getting sober, getting clean, getting her life together? Because, here's the thing. When you're a heroin addict, you kind of lose all credibility on everything else. But when you take that away, there are going to be some family dynamics here that are loose ends and ugly. They're going to have to be dealt with, and you're either going to be part of the problem or you're going to be part of the solution. Right. And I'll promise you, if you ever do anything to come between this father and his daughter, it will wind up biting you really bad. He will resent you for it for the rest of his life. Because if you want a relationship with your husband, you will support his relationship with his children. And vice versa. I mean, you'll support her relationship with her mother. And you will support her relationship in treating his current wife with dignity and respect. Whether you like her or whether you don't, I don't know how y'all get along. I don't really know of one thing in this family that's working well right now. It's just like we're in denial here. It's just like look straight ahead and there are no problems on the sides, but there are. And if you don't think that heroin addiction is fatal, let me tell you, it can be fatal. This has disaster written all over it. Do you see why I talked to you before we brought her out? Because if we continue to do what we've always done, where you get into some kind of treatment somewhere or whatever, and then you decide, well, okay, I want to feel normal again. So you come up with some excuse to walk out the door, and you answer that call and go get her and bring her home and just tuck her right in, and here's $60. Now go get your nails done. You saw her doing her nails on the video.
Sure did.
That's her doing her nails. Do you not resent her using you and playing you for a fool all this time? She knew you loved her. She knew you were committed to her, and she used that against you to deceive and betray you. Your mother has said, and I quote, I will drop everything, and she emphasized everything, if she needs me. 100% accessible for her. I want her to know I love her. And you know that, and you use it to stab her in the back, and shame on you for doing it. Anybody that will take something as pure as a mother's love and use it to get to drugs and betray her, that's terrible. She says if you can't afford to eat, she will cook for you. She takes you to the methadone clinic. Come on, that is what I think of that. That has to be over. That is the relationship you have had. It is now shut down. It is ripped in half. Because if they're not willing to do what I am asking them to do, I wouldn't touch you with a 10-foot pole. I wouldn't touch you with a 10-foot pole. Because you need somebody to tell you the truth. And the truth is, you are a spoiled brat, Missy, and they have spoiled you. And so you come out here in your self-righteous, sanctimonious way and criticize the manner in which they parent and the fact that your father deceived you. You're the biggest liar in the building. Do you get that? Don't roll your eyes and look at me. I'm telling you the truth. If there's anything I'm telling you that won't withstand challenge, then bring it on. I want to hear it. I want to hear it. I'm telling you, you're the biggest liar in the building. Now you tell me I'm wrong.
I know I am.
I'll be right back. You're the biggest liar in the building. Do you get that? Don't roll your eyes and look at me. I'm telling you the truth. If there's anything I'm telling you that won't withstand challenge, then bring it on. I want to hear it. I want to hear it. I'm telling you, you're the biggest liar in the building. Now you tell me I'm wrong.
I know I am.
Well, then why are you rolling your eyes like some entitled little brat?
I wasn't rolling my eyes.
Oh, okay. Does it seem like I know an awful lot about y'all's family?
Sure does.
Do you know why I do? There are two reasons I know. One is y'all have been very candid and forthcoming. And the other reason that I know so much about you is it's like looking through a picture window. It is so transparent. Lassie could figure this one out. You buy her a car after she totals it on drugs. Dad, come on. You've got to know, when you look at that, 20/20 hindsight, as they always say, you look back at that, you think, you know what, I just loaded the gun and gave it right back to her, right?
Yeah. I don't have any excuse for it other than, you
don't need one.
Yeah.
What you don't need an excuse because you love her. I get that. I do. And I respect y'all as parents. I do. Which may sound funny because I'm saying you're doing so much wrong, but your intention is good. But you are so misguided. And do you see, no matter what I was to do with her, if you continue to, I'm accessible 100%, just call me. I'll pick you up. Hungry? Let me fix you something. Here's $60. Go do this. Need a new car? Here you go. No problem. Steal from me? I'll look the other way. There would be no reason in the world for me to do it.
Right.
You see, I take a very different approach to this than you do. My approach is that you call a spade a damn shovel. And I'm saying that this is a spoiled, entitled heroin addict that expects you to bail her out and let her abuse herself in a way that is life-threatening. That can't happen. It cannot happen. And if you can't come over to my side in the way this is handled, then there's no pointing us going forward.
And we're there. Trust me.
On your side.
This is this. Don't know what else to do, Dr. Phill. That's why I'm here. I mean, I think I mentioned I've thrown in the towel. I don't know what else to do for my daughter.
I want you to pick the towel back up and put it around your neck because you're going to need it. You're going to need it. You're a cop.
Yes, sir.
I need you to bring the professional skepticism to this that you would if you picked up one of these people's kids. And you know what? If you love her, and I know that you do, and I believe that you do as well. I think you've come to know this child, and I think you love her. She needs to know that this is the last time around the track, that you're not going to do this with her anymore.
Right.
And so I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to dismiss y'all right now. I want you guys to go back to the green room without me. And I want you to have a conversation among yourselves back there. And you're either going to come back out here and tell me that everybody's on the same page here. No more coddling this kid. She goes where she needs to go for however long she needs to go, and she has to do whatever she has to do. And let me tell you something. It ain't some 28-day wonder. And very likely, if you do what I might make available to you based on what I hear from this group when you come back, you might never, ever return to your hometown again, ever. Because that's where you do drugs. That's where you get the stuff. That's where your triggers are. That's where it happens. I'm talking about, we're not going to do this just to kind of fill the square and make nice television. I'm saying you may wind up living in Eugene, Oregon, or Paris, France, I don't know, but you won't be back where you threaten your own life with drugs every day. Your life as you know it is going to change dramatically, or I want no part of this. I want no part of this if we're not going all the way. And so you guys, I'm not going to waste the resources. I want you guys to go back. Bones, AJ, I want to take these guys back. We will shut this show down and let you speak as a family. And we're just going to take a big, long break until you get back.
Right? We're doing this. This is it. This is the last time. This is it. We're done. We're clean. We're sober. We're going to be responsible adults and make good decisions. Right? From now on, 2 choices, you're going to make the right one, the good one. Right?
And whatever Dr. Phil says is what you're gonna do.
You gotta want it, Sid. You don't want
have to
it.
want
I do
not
want
us.
it.
Okay.
Not us. Good
Let's
for
do
you.
it. Let's do a group hug. Come on. All right. Love you, right?
We're in agreement. We're in.
Whatever we gotta do.
We're in.
We're back. You've just been watching a couple of commercial messages for a few minutes, but we've actually been gone a pretty good while because I asked Tiffany, her biological parents Ken and Susie, and stepmother Christy to go backstage and discuss whether or not they are ready, not just as Tiffany, but as a family unit, to do what has to happen to really give Tiffany a chance to get clean and sober once and for all. And I have to say, one of the things that frustrates me most in this profession over the years is people that, like, they'll have a kid or someone that's creating a lot of problems, and they'll drag them to the altar of the therapist, drop them off, and say, okay, fix them, and we'll be back when you call. Well, it's just not that easy. You know, no, you're not going to just drop them off. Everybody's staying. Everybody's staying because there's more to it than just her. You're the squeaky wheel, you're making the noise, but it's about everybody. So I ask you guys to go back and sit down and see if you could redefine a family dynamic here, because I can't do this if y'all are going to sabotage me. Tell me what you have to say.
We're hopeful you can give us some guidance or put us on a path to whatever we need to do to save our daughter. And she wholeheartedly has shared with us that she wants help. I'm just pleased to know that she is is still reaching out for some help. And us as a family, we want it, we're here. And I feel, I'm going to go, and you've enlightened me a lot on some of the things that I've done, that I've recognized that I guess the car and the monies and all those things, I think we're going to come to grips with that as well.
Now, I want you to look me in the eye and tell me, I said I was 100% accessible to her.
110% I'm doing this. She's done.
You get it. You're tired of being used.
Mm-hmm.
You're tired of being manipulated. You're
Done.
tired of her using your love as a mother against you.
Done.
You're done.
Done.
No cars, no money, no
Done.
excuses. You're
Nope.
through parenting out of guilt.
She can live under a bridge.
Because you've been parenting from guilt.
Done.
You're behind this 100%.
Yes,
You want to do this?
I do.
There's no leaving this time. You start making noise about leaving, we'll get a 5150 commitment, put your ass right back where you were.
Here you go.
And you understand that they're now on my side,
Yep.
and I'm on your side. So we're all pulling for you. I have what I believe are the best people in the country to do this. Rich Whitman, stand up if you would. I've worked with Rich for a number of years. He is now, he's part of our team here. And he guides us and gives us input on placements and where people need to be and that sort of thing. Because we have to be the only television show in the history of television and on the globe that does this for our guests. I mean, we have a 100% resource program. Whoever comes on our show, I'm never under the impression that I'm doing 8-minute cures up here. Mm-hmm. I don't think I've cured your family dynamic. What I've tried to do is be a compass for you, an emotional compass that gives you a wake-up call, gets your attention, and points you in the right direction. And then I'm going to provide, through their help, resources to empower you as a family to be a positive instead of a negative in this. So you're going to have to do a lot of work in her absence. It isn't just like, okay, got rid of her, woohoo. You got a lot of work to do while she's gone. Right. And I'm going to provide that to you at our expense, not yours.
Thank you.
And what I ask in return is you grab on with both hands and you do this. Velvet, stand up if you would. This is Velvet Mangum. She's here. Velvet is the CEO and founder of Safe Harbor Treatment Center for Women. Velvet, your facility is going to meet her on many different levels, not just detox and addiction, but all of the issues that particularly women face in dealing with this. Talk about that a little bit.
Absolutely. There's a long process to recovery, and it begins with admission, and that's what this family's done today.
You are burning the bridge behind you right here, as scary as that is. We've done this before. Okay? All right. Deal? We'll be right back. I want to thank all of my guests today, and a very special thanks to Safe Harbor Treatment Center for Women and on-site workshops. I really appreciate the skill that they bring to this. Look, teenage sweethearts, dubbed by some as the modern-day Bonnie and Clyde, made headlines when they allegedly embarked on a dangerous cross-country crime spree, reportedly leaving a trail of chaos in their wake. The Daily Mail was all over this story and followed Dalton Hayes and his girlfriend's every move.
This was a very big story for DailyMail.com. These were two young lovers on the run. They traversed 5 states. They were not to be found anywhere, and the hunt began.
We begin with the multi-state manhunt for a 13-year-old and her 18-year-old boyfriend.
Police in several states are looking for unlikely suspects, 18-year-old Dalton Hayes and 13-year-old Cheyenne Phillips.
They are being called a modern-day Bonnie and Clyde, a teen couple on an alleged crime spree through the South.
The two left 2 days before Hayes was to appear in court on burglary and theft charges.
The Investigators say the fact Hayes was a suspect in other robberies may have prompted him to take off.
The teenagers allegedly burglarized a home, stole a truck, and crashed it into a fence.
It sounded like a bomb went off, but it was the door hitting the building.
Jim McGrew says the teen stole his truck, then took off, crashing through fences before running into the woods and ditching police.
Police say the couple may have been involved in a series of home burglaries before making off in a stolen red pickup.
They were spotted in a South Carolina Walmart accused of using stolen checks to get $40 in cash.
Then the pair traveled to Georgia, where they are accused of stealing a silver 2001 Toyota Tundra. Authorities say the truck had 2 handguns inside.
13-year-old Cheyenne Phillips and her 18-year-old boyfriend Dalton Hayes may be somewhere in Florida this morning, on the run with a stolen truck like this one and loaded guns, according to police. A situation they say is growing more dire by the hour.
Back home in Grayson County, Dalton's mother's worries are only growing.
I found out her age the day that they left. And so I take her phone and I said, hey, the police are looking for you.
The teenage couple, on the run for 14 days, was taken into police custody in Panama City Beach, Florida.
Hayes was arrested and charged with being a fugitive from justice. Phillips was placed in the care of Children's Services.
So what on earth do these two say drove them to flee? 18-year-old Dalton Hayes has been extradited from Florida and is sitting behind bars in this Kentucky jail right now, facing a number of criminal charges. Is this on-the-run Romeo a hard-nosed criminal? Was he just trying to protect the love of his life, or was something else going on? Today, in a daytime exclusive, I'm inside the Grayson County Detention Center to talk to the so-called Clyde of what some have called a modern-day Bonnie and Clyde story. I want to point out that during the entire interview, Dalton's lawyer, Landon Tingle, was present. You will hear him often advising his client not to answer the questions, but Dalton was insistent. He wants his side of the story out there. He feels he has been mischaracterized in the media, and he wants to set the record straight. You've been incarcerated here now for how long?
For almost a month.
For almost a month. I want to acknowledge as we begin here, you have a public defender and he's here in the room.
Yes, sir.
And he has advised you against doing this interview, but you've decided to do the interview anyway, correct?
Yes, sir.
You were arrested in Florida, right?
Yes.
When you left here, what was your intention? Where were you headed? Did you have a plan?
I advise you not to answer that. To be honest with you, Dr. Phill, I didn't have much of a plan. She had advised me that she was being harmed at home, and I just wanted to protect her, keep her safe.
And what did she say they were doing to her?
Beating on her.
Did she give you any specifics about what?
Hitting her in the face.
Hitting her in the face?
Yes.
And had you seen bruises? Had you seen damage to her face?
Yes, I have.
And her family has denied that, said that wasn't the case, but you disagree.
I know for a fact that she was being abused.
And she told you that?
Yes.
And you saw the results of it?
Yes.
Because I have not seen a single picture that had any bruises or marks on her, which doesn't support your claim that she was being beat on.
Actually, in this picture right here, she wore makeup that night, and on her left eye, right up underneath it, it was black.
Now, at the time that the two of you left, you had some charges pending against you, right?
Yes.
And they were for burglary?
I advise you not to answer any of these questions. Yes.
How much time were you looking at on your prior charges? Do you have any idea?
I probably would have got maybe 7 years and been out in 6 months on shock probation.
Did that figure into your leaving?
No, had nothing to do with my leaving.
Okay, so you weren't leaving to escape prosecution.
I wouldn't answer.
On this other thing?
Wouldn't answer that question. I left because I wanted to protect her. And that's it.
That was the only thing that was on your mind at the time, was to protect her.
That was the only thing, is to keep her safe.
Had you planned it, or was it kind of a spur of the moment thing?
Spur of the moment.
Had you known her for a while?
Yes, I had. I had known her for going on 5 months.
Okay. Were y'all dating?
Yes.
Okay. When you were dating her, did she tell you how old she was?
She had told me that she was 18 years old. She told me that her birthday was May 19th, 1996.
Did you know any of her friends?
Yes, and they told me the same thing.
You were how old at the time?
I was 18 years old.
Have you heard the term Bonnie and Clyde?
Bonnie and Clyde was kind of like two people that I've always liked. I watched the movie Bonnie and Clyde several times. I think the news broadcasters took it way out of proportion because there was no Bonnie and Clyde. I wasn't nothing like that.
Because in the movie, these two people, they had guns, they killed people, they killed law enforcement people,
Yes.
and you didn't do anything like that, right?
No way.
You never...
Never even thought about it.
You never threatened anybody with a gun, you never
threatened.
shot at anybody, you never
Nope.
killed anybody. So for them to characterize you and this young woman in that way was like a huge stretch, right?
Yes.
Well, I want to give you a chance to set that record straight because you've been characterized in the media. I got a list of articles here, of all these articles, Bonnie and Clyde, Bonnie and Clyde, Bonnie and Clyde. You're not saying what you did was smart.
Oh, but what I did was not smart by no means. I could have went about it many different ways.
It wasn't the smartest thing to do, but the things that you did do certainly are not, it's not a fair comparison to somebody that went on a murderous spree.
Yes, it's not no fair comparison at all.
So you did this on the spur of the moment because you were in love with this girl?
Yes,
You wanted to protect her?
Yes. There's not a day that don't go by that I don't think about her. For a matter of fact, 2 days ago I called my mom and I cried to my mom because I miss her. And some people think it's a bad thing because she was 13. I had no clue she was 13. I did not know nothing about it. She advised me that the day that we left my house, that she was 13 years old and that she was in school. And the only thing I knew to do was to protect her and keep her safe, and that's what I did.
So when she said she was 13, what did you say? You had to be shocked.
To be honest with you, Dr. Phill, I was really shocked. I was kind of like, why would you lie to me all this time? And that's the only thing that come to my mind, and then to keep her safe.
Were you engaged?
Yes.
Had they ever talked about running off and getting married or anything?
They hadn't talked about running off and getting married. They talked about getting married.
Yeah.
Because he asked her to marry him in my living room right in front of me.
And what'd she say?
She said yes.
So he proposed in front of you?
Yes.
He wanted you to see?
Yeah.
Why?
He wanted me to be a part of it.
Did you like her?
Yeah, I liked her. She was a sweet girl.
Were you excited?
Yeah, I was happy about it. I mean, I was happy that he found somebody that he could, be happy with.
Tell me how that went. You're there, he's there. You two know it, but she doesn't.
He had the ring, and he pulled it out, and he told her, he said that he loved her and he wanted to spend every day of his life with her and asked her if she would marry him.
Did he get down on one knee? Or
Yes, yes he did.
He did?
Yes.
Do you plan to marry her?
To be honest with you, Dr. Phill, I still love her, but no. I do not plan to marry her.
You don't plan to marry her? Why not?
Because I'm not doing this time for me. I did all this to protect her and keep her safe, so she didn't have to go back home to her family.
Did it work?
No.
So you were in love with her, you're in love with her now.
Yes.
Did she ever get pregnant?
Yes.
I advise you not to talk about it.
Did she ever tell you that she had a miscarriage?
I advise you same.
I'm going to go with my lawyer's opinion on this one and not talk about this.
Okay. All right. Did she ever show you a picture of an ultrasound?
I'm going to go with my lawyer's opinion.
Okay. Is there a chance she's pregnant now?
Coming up.
Did y'all ever come close to getting caught?
I'm going to say no.
So you had no money, you had no plan. Did you ever plan on coming back?
We now return to Dr. Phil's exclusive interview with runaway teen Dalton Hayes.
One thing the teen is insistent on is when his relationship with Cheyenne started, his not knowing her real age. The two went on the run, eluding authorities over the last 2 weeks before police caught up with them in Panama City Beach.
Rumors have swirled that the 13-year-old girl that Dalton left with could be pregnant with his baby. These rumors have not been confirmed. Was she pregnant when they left?
She said she was.
She said she was pregnant?
Yeah, she had told me she was.
Did you say how far along she was? Had she been to a doctor?
She had told me once before that she had been to the doctor, but I knew it was a lie. She said she went to the doctor, and she said, well, I had to leave before the appointment was all the way over. She said I had to pick my brother up at school, and the doctor's going to mail me the rest of the paperwork. I knew right then that she was lying because an OBGYN doesn't do that. None I've ever seen.
Right.
And she showed me an ultrasound picture, and she was supposed to be 6 to 7 weeks at this ultrasound. In the picture, you could see the fetus. It looked just like a little bean, but you could see it. You can't see anything at 7 to 8 weeks. So I knew that wasn't her ultrasound. Come to find out, her dad's ultrasound picture from his last child, who's a year old, was missing.
Is there a chance she's pregnant now?
No.
Okay. Now, when you left, you were scheduled to be presented to the grand jury
the very next day.
The very next day. And you knew that, right? But that wasn't on your mind. Your mind was to get her to safety.
Dr. Phill, can I just tell you how it started?
Please.
Her family reported her missing. And I told her...
Before you left?
Before we left. And I told her, I said, let me take you home. And then I'll come get you and everything will be all right. She latched onto me, kind of like a pit bull, and she cried. And that's when she told me, please don't take me home. I said, well, I have court tomorrow. I said, can you hide out until tomorrow? And she advised me no, that she was going to leave. So my first instinct is forget about court. I'm going with her. I'm going to keep her safe. And that's what I tried to do.
So you're saying she was going anyway?
Yeah, she was going in. That's
whether you went or whether or not, she was going anyway.
Yes.
So was this a situation where you're saying you kind of went with her?
Yes. Like
instead of her going with you?
Yes. People took it all out of proportion. I did not force her. She's the one who told me that she was running and she did not want to go home.
But she was 13.
Yes, I had no clue. She did not tell me she was 13 until we left my house. And that's when I had a warrant signed for my arrest.
Did you ever plan on coming back?
Had no plans of coming back to the state of Kentucky.
You were gone?
I was gone.
You in the wind, you weren't ever coming back?
Never coming back.
Where were you going to wind up?
In Panama.
The country of Panama?
The country of Panama.
And I've heard the stories that what you wanted to do was take her to see the ocean before you had to go to jail. Is that true?
That is not true. She did want to go see the ocean, and I was going to take her with me to the ocean in June. It just so happens that all this came up, and we ended up at the beach.
Your mission wasn't to get her to the ocean before you had to go to jail?
No, that was not my mission.
That wasn't your mission?
No.
Your mission was what?
My mission was to keep her safe. I had to get her away from her family.
Okay. Did you consider any alternative, like calling Child Protective Services or Department of Child and Family Services?
I did not, because I can tell you that if I would have called them, that they would not have helped her out at all. And I know that for a fact because my whole juvenile life, I was in and out of jail, rehabs, group homes, camps, all over silly stuff. I didn't know no other way to go about it.
Right. So you left here and you left in a red pickup truck, right?
I'm not going to speak on that.
But just tell you what the allegation is, that the police say that you stole a red 2006 Toyota Tacoma from a cattle farm.
I'm not going to say whether I did or didn't.
Let me ask you something. I'm going to ask you this hypothetically. I'm not talking about the 2 weeks that you were on the run. If you were going to steal a car or a truck, hypothetically, would you hotwire it or would you find one with the keys in it if you were going to steal it?
Well, being you're not talking about the case, I feel that this won't incriminate me in court. I would find one with the keys in the vehicle.
Okay. From the 5th through the 11th, where were you? You allegedly had a stolen check that was presented at Walmart in Manning, South Carolina. According to the Manning police chief, that's you, that's her. That's in the Walmart in Manning on the 12th.
That's true.
Did y'all ever come close to getting caught between here and there?
I'm going to say no.
No, you never got close?
No.
You weren't recognized, people didn't see, were you aware that you were on the news?
No, I had no idea I was on the news.
You didn't know you were on, you didn't see your pic, you didn't walk in and look up and see yourself
had no clue.
On the news, you didn't see that?
Had no clue I was on the news.
The alleged crime spree of two teenage fugitives on the run.
The two are accused of eluding police.
Those young suspects were dubbed the teenage Bonnie and Clyde.
You didn't know that people said that the two of you had run off together or any of that?
Had no clue.
You thought you were off the radar?
Yes.
Just that nobody was looking for you?
Yes.
The long arm of the law finally caught up with Dalton Hayes and Cheyenne Phillips in a parking lot in Panama City Beach, Florida.
Bay County Sheriff's Office, Panama City Police, Panama City Beach Police Department, and the U.S. Marshals surrounded the vehicle and gave them absolutely no way out.
Did you ever see your mother pleading for you to come home in the media?
I had no idea. Actually, we were on the beach, and I ran across this guy, and he told me that he seen my mama on TV. He said that your mom was begging for you to come home.
He recognized you?
Yes, he recognized me. The first thing he told me, he said, "You're the new modern-day Bonnie and Clyde." And that's when she started laughing. And I said, "It's not funny." I said, "This can get both of us in a lot of trouble. So you just need to lay back, and we're gonna lay low for a while."
You were, in fact, arrested in Florida on the 18th in a Toyota Tundra that you allegedly had stolen in Georgia.
Yes.
Okay. Were you armed?
No, I was not armed.
There was never a time that you used a gun against anyone in any way. You didn't threaten a gun, you didn't brandish a weapon?
Nope, I never seen a gun.
Did you have any money when you left?
Had not $1.
You did not have $1 in your pocket when you left here?
No money.
When you left without $1 in your pocket, how did you plan to feed this girl?
She did not go hungry. I always managed to feed her, and I wouldn't let her eat before I would even take a bite of anything.
Did that worry you?
Not necessarily, because I can live off the land.
So you had no plan, you just, we're out of here.
Yes, that was her idea.
But do you understand that's really impulsive?
Yes.
That's not the smartest thinking you've ever done.
No, it's the dumbest thinking I've ever done.
Yeah. Was this dangerous?
This was very dangerous.
In retrospect, if they thought you had abducted her, could you have been shot and killed here?
Yes.
Okay, so you had no money, you had no plan. You were due in court the next day, so you decided this is a good plan. I want to take this 13-year-old and we're hightailing it. We're out of here because you're going to protect her. Did somebody need to protect her from you?
Coming up.
Difference between 62 and 57, not a big deal.
Yes.
Difference between 18 and 13, there's going to be a lot of people in America say that's a big deal. If she lied to you about her age, how do you know she wasn't lying to you about being abused?
We now return to a modern-day Bonnie and Clyde or confused teens in love.
Authorities have been looking for 18-year-old Dalton Hayes and his 13-year-old 8th-grade girlfriend, Cheyenne Phillips. Last week, Hayes' mother received a text from her son that said he was fine. Phillips sent her mother a text around the same time asking for $100.
Hayes is facing several charges for the alleged crimes he has committed in multiple states. Phillips, the 13-year-old, will be treated as a juvenile.
Did somebody need to protect her from you?
No. I would not harm her. There was no reason for somebody to think that I took her against her will, because I didn't. And that is a fact, and whoever says different, they're wrong.
Do you understand that you've been charged with second-degree rape?
I do understand that.
Is that fair?
That is not fair at all.
Why is that unfair to you?
I'll give you a little bit, Dr. Phill, but I can't go into detail with it. Not everybody knows the whole story. I'm not a bad guy. I have got letters from people. He was a man, I think he was 62, talking about how he fell in love with a girl who was 5 years younger than him. I've also got a letter from an elderly lady talking about how she understands my situation.
You're getting letters from people saying, hey, I understand, 5-year difference between 62 and 57, not a big deal.
Yes.
Difference between 18 and 13,
yes.
there's going to be a lot of people in America say that's a big deal because that's a child and you're an adult. As an adult, you should know that child does not have the ability to make adult decisions. That child does not have the ability to give consent. That child does not have the ability to understand the consequences of her actions or her decisions, and therefore, you as an adult should not put her in a situation where she has to make adult decisions. What do you say to that?
I never put her in a situation where she had to make an adult decision. My theory is, if she can lie about her age and say that she's a grown-up, that she can handle the grown-up consequences that come with that. That's why she is what she is today.
And
that is my theory on that.
Did you ever meet her mother?
Yes, I met her mother.
Did her mother not tell you how old she was?
No.
She had to know you weren't 13.
Yes. That's obvious.
Did she object to you being with her daughter?
No, actually, Sherry liked me. Sherry told me that I was a good guy. Sherry's husband, Wade, he liked me. Said that I was a great guy.
Does that strike you odd that a mother wouldn't say, wait a minute here. You're a grown man, my daughter's 13. Well, get your hands off of her. What do you...
Yes, that does. Because if that was my daughter's not going to be dating an 18-year-old.
So she lied to you early on?
Yes, she lied to me throughout it all.
And you fell in love with her while she was lying to you?
Yes.
And you had the opportunity to walk away, and you're saying it was too late?
Yes.
If she lied to you about her age for 5 months, how do you know she wasn't lying to you about being abused?
Because I have seen marks on her face. She went in my bathroom at my mama's house and put makeup on just to hide her bruises from me, because she did not want me to know.
Could those have been from a fight with a girlfriend? Could those have been from something else?
They could have been from something else, but I'm going to believe her on that. That's what she told me, that's what I believe.
So she lied to you about her age?
Yes.
But you believe her about the abuse allegations?
Yes.
Her father says it's not true and they're a well thought of family. They've already denied that. They said it's not true, so those are allegations, they deny them. We spoke to the young girl's father, and he said he is her custodial parent. He says things are overwhelming right now, and he declined our offer for an interview. But he absolutely and completely denies Dalton's allegation that his daughter was abused at home. We'll be right back.
Coming up.
Were you driving or was she driving? Do you know the name of the man whose truck you allegedly left in?
It sounded like a bomb went off, but it was the door hitting the building.
I've actually spoken to his wife. She wanted me to tell both of you.
We now return to a modern-day Bonnie and Clyde or confused teens in love.
Last week, the pair was spotted inside a Walmart in South Carolina. Authorities were worried about their increasing brazenness. The last truck they allegedly stole contained 2 guns. Their alleged crime spree spanned 5 southern states, and their exploits prompted comparisons to fugitive lovebirds Bonnie Parker and Clyde Barrow.
I read that you said in the media that you had a couple high-speed chases. Did somebody chase you?
I'm not going to talk about that because that could hurt me in other states.
If you were chased, were you driving or was she driving?
I'm not going to discuss that.
Did she ever drive?
Yes.
So there were times when y'all were on the move that she did some driving?
Yes.
Did she ever want to come home during that 2 weeks? Did she go, wow?
To be honest with you, Dr. Phill, you ain't even got to finish the question. No. She begged me not to take her home because I was so ready to come back home and get this jail time and do it and get it over with. No, she not one time asked me to take her home. When I would tell her, let's go turn ourselves in, she would say, you go turn yourself in. I'm not turning myself in.
Do you know the name of the man whose truck you allegedly left in?
I have no clue.
Well, the man's name's Jim McGrew, and this is a quote from him. They stole my truck and took off, crashing through fences before running into the woods and ditching police.
It sounded like a bomb went off, but it was the door hitting the building.
apparently this truck was in a garage-type shed or building, and the door wasn't completely closed when you were backing out, and so it hit and bent the door really badly and made a really big noise. Would that be what he's talking about here, the big noise?
I'm not going to discuss that.
I've actually spoken to his wife. She wanted me to tell both of you that they are really praying for you and that they really forgive you both.
You know, it's kind of obvious, Dr. Phill. Sorry about this, but I'll go ahead and say it. The red truck, they got me on camera.
I know.
And if I get them released, I would go back to jail just to go to them and tell them that I was sorry. Because I sit back and I think about the things that I did, the things that I've done, and how I hurt others. And now I realize that people, they work hard for the stuff that they get. And then people go on the spur of the moment and tear those things up. And if you ever have contact with them, because it's obvious I'm not going to be allowed to, we tell them that we appreciate their prayers and that I am very sorry and that I have a lot of restitution to pay and they will get their truck fixed.
Was there any relief when you were caught?
There was a lot of relief. To be honest with you, I was glad to be caught. I was ready to come back home, and I can still remember the first question the U.S. Marshal asked me. He gave me the phone and my sheriff was on the phone, and Norman Chafin said, "Are you okay?" And I said, "Yes, just please come get me and take me home." I was ready to come home. I was ready to see my mom more than anything.
The sheriff says he's received as many as 5 and 6 calls a day to his office here in Grayson County.
Dalton is hard-headed, we know that. You got a 13-year-old and an 18-year-old who's supposed to be in love, but you know, if he really cares for her, then he would take her someplace safe.
I've spoken to Sheriff Chafin, and he mentioned that you got on the phone with him and he asked you if you were okay. You knew he was sincere because he's known you since you were younger.
Yes.
He was sincerely wanting to make sure you were okay.
Yes. And if I'd have said no, he would have made sure I was okay.
You were relieved to come home because you knew she was going to go somewhere that she would be safe.
Yes.
Why wouldn't she have been safe going there before you left?
Because they would have not have took her there.
There would have been no reason for her to get in the system?
Yes, none at all.
What is it that's really important to you for people to understand about you as they look at this situation?
I want people out there to know that I did not do it to hurt her. I did it to keep her safe. Because not only then did I love her, but today I still love her. I want people to know that I didn't do it against her will. I did not force her to leave. She's the one who said that she was running, and I could not let her go by herself.
What would you say to those people that would say you wanted to protect her, but that you were the threat?
She was the one who begged me. She is the one who pleaded to me not to take her home. She is the one who told me she was being abused. So I thought that I did the right thing by keeping her safe, by not letting her get beat on. But it's obvious some people don't look at it that way.
You leave here on the 4th and you're arrested on the 18th. That's 2 weeks. Were you having fun? Was this a big adventure?
Coming up.
The way she looked at me, she was the most happy girl alive. I would do it all over again to protect her.
Did you think you were going to get away with this? What was the last thing you said to her?
We now return to a modern-day Bonnie and Clyde or confused teens in love.
The Grayson County teen who was on the run with his girlfriend was in court today.
This young man, Dalton, is going to stand trial for 11 different counts, including second-degree rape, robbery, and taking a young girl across state lines.
As for Phillips, officials won't tell us where she is or what charges she may be facing since she's just 13.
Was this a big adventure?
I'll give you some detail on it, Dr. Phill. That's just because I know people's gonna think what they want to think. People's going to say what they want to say, and that's okay. But the look on her eyes when we was at the beach, the way she looked at me, the way she presented herself, she was the most happy girl alive. I would do it all over again to protect her.
Were you wrong to leave here with a 13-year-old girl?
Yes. And you know what, Dr. Phill? If I would have known she was 13, I would have never spoken to her.
Are you in contact with her at all?
No.
What was the last thing you said to her?
I love you.
Anything else? No. What was the last thing she said to you?
I love you.
Do you miss her?
There's not a day in this jail that I don't think about her. I don't know if she feels the same way. I'll probably never know if she feels the same way.
Did you think you were going to get away with this, or did you think, you know, I'm going to run like hell, but we're going to get caught?
That's funny, Dr. Phill. I'll answer that question for you. I knew we were going to get caught. I knew what I was facing. After she had told me her real age, I knew what I would come home to. But she thought it was all a joke. She would laugh about things. She'd think everything's funny. And it just so happens when we were arrested, not everything's funny. When the cops got us, she told me, she said, go somewhere. There's nowhere to go. So they put us both on the ground. And I told her, I said, I love you. She said, I love you too. That was it.
Was it worth it?
To keep her safe, to know that I didn't have to send her back home to get beat on, it was worth it. But on the other hand, it wasn't worth it, because now I'm looking at 10 to 20 years.
Why did you want to do this interview?
Because I wanted people to understand the full story, not just what the news broadcasters are saying about me. That I'm not a bad guy, because I did not ever once hurt her. Maybe some people will change their view on me and not look at me as a bad guy.
What would you do different if you had this to do over again?
Coming up, what finally made Dalton break down and cry?
I understand that you've gotten some difficult news.
We now return to Dr. Phil's exclusive interview with Dalton Hayes.
What would you do different if you had this to do over again?
If I had this to do over again, I would call the only cop in town that I really trust, and he might have been able to get her in a better place.
But you wouldn't have broken off the relationship even though you learned she was 13 because you say she lied to you and you fell in love with her.
If I had it to do over again, like I said, I would have called that one cop, and it would have never come out she was 13.
I understand that since you've been incarcerated here that you've gotten some difficult news about your father as far as his health.
My dad was diagnosed with throat cancer, but I just found out yesterday, and it seems my family wants to keep things from me while I'm incarcerated. I think it's next week they're putting a feeding tube in him, and my dad's not in the best health as of right now. It's hard on me, but I don't know what else to do with it.
You scared for him?
I really am scared that my dad's not going to make it. That's what hurts me the most.
Has he been to see you?
No. I seen him at the sheriff's office on the 22nd when they brought me back to Kentucky. I seen him for like 4 minutes, give him a hug. He told me everything's gonna be all right. It's kind of hard for me to stay strong, especially with me being locked up. And just say something did happen to my dad, I wouldn't be able to go to his funeral because I'm a flight risk. It's kind of hard to accept things, even though you can't change them.
If you had a chance to say something to this girl today, what would it be?
If I had a chance to see her, look at her, tell her that I love her, tell her that her eyes still shine brighter than the stars do, and just tell her that everything's gonna be all right, and that's all I'd tell her.
You're obviously looking at doing some time in
the penitentiary.
In the penitentiary.
I accept the time that I'm gonna do. I don't look at it as a long time, I look at it as a time to get my education, time to start college, time to change my life around where I can do things. Because I got a problem. My problem is with drugs, in particular spice, which is that fake marijuana. I was really bad on that.
Were you on drugs when you left Kentucky?
I was.
Were you on drugs while you were gone?
No.
But you're going to use this time to get yourself straightened out, get yourself educated?
Yes, I'm going to get my GED, I'm going to start college, try to prevent anything like this from ever happening again.
Dalton's mother, Tammy Martin, says her son is not dangerous, that he's a good kid who made some bad decisions. She says she couldn't be more thankful that he is safe and sound, even if he is behind bars. What do you think should happen here?
I think it should go through the court system like it's going, and, you know, when Dalton gets his sentence, serve his time, and hopefully while he's in the jail, he can get his GED, and when he gets out, maybe lead a productive, happy life.
So you believe he should be accountable for his bad choices. You just don't think it should be to the point that it defines the rest of his life.
Correct.
Was this the act of a hardened and vicious criminal, or was this the stupid impulse of a kid?
Stupid impulse of a kid.
And you don't endorse an 18-year-old running away with a 13-year-old?
No.
Coming up.
I want to be real clear on what my position here is.
We now return to Dr. Phil's exclusive interview with Dalton Hayes.
Do you feel like I've given you a fair opportunity to tell your story here today?
I feel you have.
Is there anything that you wanted to say that you haven't had the opportunity to say?
Actually, there is.
Let's hear it.
I was in trouble all throughout my juvenile life. 3 months and 21 days after I turned 18, I come to jail on 2 felonies. I don't know about most people, but I listen to a lot of country. That's what I like, and I listen to some Merle Haggard. There's one song that always comes to my mind, and it's called Mama Tried. My mom worked days, nights, evenings, it didn't matter what it was, to support her 3 kids. I'm a mama's boy, so obviously, you know my mama tried.
Mama tried to raise me better.
She gave everything she had, but I just decided not to listen, decided to take things into my own hand all the time. But if I could go back, I'd change a lot of things just for my mom.
Well, I'm glad to hear you say that. I want to be real clear on what my position here is. I think what you did was an incredibly bad choice. I think for an 18-year-old to be off with a 13-year-old is wrong at every level. There is no excuse for it. There's no justification for it. It is wrong, wrong, wrong. I don't think you're an evil guy. You just had really bad impulse here and made a really bad choice. I hope that you take the time that you get and do what you said and get yourself cleaned up, get yourself educated with some skills so you can become a constructive member of society. You're very young, and this can be a bad memory that fades by the time you're 30 years old, 40 years old. You can put this behind you and turn yourself around, and I hope you do that.
I'm going to.
Don't waste it. You can do this, and you guys certainly are not Bonnie and Clyde. You certainly didn't kill people. You certainly didn't hurt people. You certainly haven't been characterized fairly, and you've told your story today, and I'm glad you did. This is a cautionary tale. Because what we're talking about here is an 18-year-old young man who made a really bad decision at so many levels. Running away with an underage child is never acceptable. That is never okay. And if you're a young man or a young woman, a young teenager, and you feel like you're trapped, find some adult that you can trust, whether it's a teacher, a counselor, a